that I'm a teacher. I'm a producer of tactile illustrated books. So my main subject is just tactile picture in books. So I speak from this history of my life. In '92, I was teacher in a classroom, and I had to make books because I could not find anyone on the market. We settled a non-profit organization to get some money. Then we settled a workshop to produce these books because nobody wanted to produce them. And in '99, we decided to cooperate with other countries with this huge project called Tiflo and Tactus. It's a competition of tactile illustrated books. In 2000, we are just 3 countries. Today, Tiflo and Tactus is 21 countries all over the world. We produce a lot of books in 8 languages for Tactus. And Dreaming Fingers, around 45,000 books have been produced in social economy and solidarity economy, which means 275 titles, including some nearly 9,000 or 10,000 books in other languages. Just to give you the size. But we are very, very small. We are just 7 people and a lot of volunteers. 20 minutes is very short. And in a tactile book, there is a lot of things. I will just select some, so I will not have the time to speak the history of tactile books. There is a wonderful book of Yvonne Eriksson. You can read it. I don't have time to speak about why is it so important to have tactile illustrated book as early as possible for any blind children. You have some reference, Paul Edmonds, that's right, which is here, and Kay Farrell. The different technique of production, which is very important according to what you want to show in a book. The different ideologies about the picture, tactile picture, like for example the Kennedy. And the economy of tactile illustrated book. Everybody say, it's expensive, oh la 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 la. So what is a picture in a picture book? This is not a turtle. This is a representation of a turtle for sighted people. This is the archetypal way of representing a turtle for the sighted. And you can see it's a profile view. It's not a bird view. It's not a below view. And this is the sighted consensual way of representing the turtle. Daniel Valent has been working on this subject for many years now. And this picture is flat like a pancake. This turtle has just 2 legs and 1 eye. And she's green like crazy green. And any sighted recognize a turtle. And these graphic icons or codes have been in progress and developed since the cave drawings. So it's a long, long, long history. And these icons do not exist amongst the blind community. What is to see? For me, to see is to see a shape on the background as a sighted. What is to touch? Is to touch a texture by contact. If we compare the 2 modalities, vision is global. You can see me at once, in 1 second, in your eyes. On the other side, it's fragmentary, part by part, analytic. Vision is instantaneous, 300,000 kilometers per second. On the other side, to touch takes time. The visual field is nearly unlimited. I can see by kilometers. On the other side, when I touch, it's limited to the contact area between my body and what I touch. And when I see something, I'm at the distance of what I see. If it's too near my eyes, I don't see anything. I need a distance. On the other side, to touch, it means contact. No distance. So as much sight need some distance, as much touch need contact. So we can see it's rather different. It's not opposite, but different, quite different. And as the sighted children, when they begin to have books, in the same time, at least in our Western society, quite well to do, they have papers and pencils, and they learn to draw in the same time. Not to draw what they see, but mainly what they are taught, the way we represent a fish, a turtle, I don't know what. And mainly, these codes are, even if I'm a bad designer, the way we learn, it's to represent something that is for sure different than another thing. If I make a flower, you will not misconfund with an elephant or with a car, even if it's a bad flower. That's the way we represent things. So the blind child, the sighted child, learn these iconic codes. If I take this representation of a turtle, and if I compare with the photography of my turtle in my terrace in France on my flat, there is some visual analogy. It's obvious for a sighted. If I take another example, a tree, then you see that perception is not enough. You need also experience for the blind child. The perception has to be connected with the experience. Let's take the tree. This is a tactile picture of a tree in one of our books. A foliage, and a trunk. What is the experience for a blind child of a tree? Mainly, it's a trunk. What is the relationship between the two? The foliage and the trunk, and just the trunk. There is no experience of the foliage, mainly. So there is visual analogy for the designer that is sighted, but is there some analogy, tactile analogy, between the two? It's not sure. Not sure at all. The reality is always the same. For example, if I ask you, look at me, and I ask you, what is in the back corner left? You didn't notice it. You don't care about what is it. It's a machine to give water. You don't care. You don't care about the ceiling. But the reality of this room is still there. So this is a little drawing based on the work of Uexul, and thanks to Daniel that make me know this author. It's a room seen by a sighted. This sighted person, like we don't know that there is a ball under the sofa, but we don't care. For a dog, the same room is this reality. No, the reality for the dog in that room is a bit different because it doesn't care about many things. What interests him is the sofa to lay down, some plates because there is some smell of food, etc. And for a fly, even less. But it's still the same reality. So what you actually call the carriers of significance are completely different according people, culture, impairment, but the reality is still the same. It's just what I need from the reality that I will use, and if I don't need it, I don't use it. And I don't care. And I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad that I don't know that there was a ball under the sofa. Okay? You all know now this drawing, I guess. For sighted, it's very difficult to understand what is the referent of this drawing. We know that this blind Polish teenager draws something that everybody knows, you and him, but for sighted, it's very difficult to understand what is representing this drawing. When a blind child touches a picture, it's a long process. So I make some simulation. Imagine that under each, it's called the end of the finger, pass, there is a camera. Each time you touch, the camera is on. Each time you put up your finger, the camera stops. So you see the surface of each finger is very small. It's 1 centimeter, square centimeter. And he has to explore all the page as much as he can, as much as he has been taught to do it, rationally or not rationally. And after a while, he thinks that he has been exploring all the page and he stops. And then there is a huge work in his mind to make one out of all these pieces of information. Huge cognitive work. Huge work for the memory also. He is 5 years old. So you saw with your eyes exactly the same quantity of information as he touched. Did you guess the picture? Impossible. The angry caterpillar from Eric Carle. Very few things. A piece of braille, a sun, a soil, and a caterpillar. Very few things. But did you see how long it took? Huge work. And each time the finger of the child touched something, it touched first a texture, then a position on the page, up, down, left, right, and a shape, and a direction. A tree is like this, an alligator is like that on the page. And things that he touched are related to other things on the page. Something like 1 item touch equal 5 clues, at least, because we could add temperature or something, or smell. Or... So let's take another example of picture, very simple, foresighted. A tree, a horse, a sun, and a donkey. The child explores the page the same way, with his fingers. He will touch, if I remember, 12 items. Each item giving 5 clues, he has to get 60 information, memorize, and work with this 60 information before he can have something in mind about this picture. What? I don't know. But he will have one thing. It's called mental image. So we can see that even a very simple picture is a lot of work for a blind child. And it takes a lot of time. So what is exactly to read a tactile picture? Of course, it's based on the experience the experience of the blind child. He has, whatever he is, this child, he has an experience of his house, of his yard, of the street, I don't know, the school, some trees, some flowers. He has an experience. Maybe limited, but he has an experience. And when you give him a tactile picture, he will try to find in the picture something he knows. If there is nothing he knows, he's completely lost. As us in front of the drawing of the Polish teenager. And that first step takes time. Remember the figure. And that starts to make a huge work for him of memorization. He has to stock all this in mind. And he will not recognize something. He will infer, according to what he touched and his experience, what it is. It's not a recognition like us, it's a deduction, inference, which is a complete different process. And of course, there is a huge cognitive synthesis to do. And at the end, only at the end of this process, there is maybe identification of what is on the picture. So we have seen that there is perception connected with the experience of the child, plus a cognitive process. Another example. It's very seldom if you meet a blind child having a huge experience with elephants. And there is many elephants on the book for children. So the child should know by language of let's say the parents, the teacher, the history, the fairy tale, I don't know, what is an elephant? A big animal, higher than the ceiling, 4 legs, a trunk, and because he knows, he will try to find these clues on the picture. But he has to know intellectually what is an elephant, because he has no experience with the elephant. And it's just because he knows by the language what is an elephant that he can't find out that is an elephant, because there is one here, two trunk, no, one tail, 4 legs, and I don't know the name of 2 teeth. No. So I have to hurry. And of course, something very important is the categorization. If you have a book and the text speaks about animals, you will not try to find a rocket or I don't know what. So the categorization will limit the possible explanation or identification of the picture. And that's the meaning, and that's the role of the text in the book. So, do you know this drawing? It's a bus. And what is important is not because it's a wonderful bus. What is important is that it shows the contact point of the body of this teenager in a bus. Because without contact, there is no bus for him. Maybe he has some sound when the door open and close. But mainly, it's what he has in memory is the impact of his body in the object called bus. Very shortly, when this explorer in Amazonia was there, his assistant took the picture. But the Indians could not recognize on the picture that it was the same that is explorator. For them, a piece of paper flat could not be this man in 3D. That means that the picture, it's a long also way of learning for the sighted, but also for the blind. The Indians were not blind. They were sighted, but they could not recognize on the picture the man in 3D beside. Like me, I cannot recognize in this drawing a bus. If you hear what they say, the blind children, we can see also that they have another way to catch the world. Okay, thank you for your attention.